Hi everybody, did you know in 2021 the laser cutter engraver market was worth $1.2 billion? That's a lot of money, and of course that market's been around for a while now. In the beginning they were all made out of this stuff. It's kind of extruded aluminium and they use it for general machine making, and they were made frames out of this and bunged a laser on it, and essentially it looked like a big pile of kitchen scraps that you sat on your bench. But things change, markets mature, and that's no longer acceptable to people. And what we want, or what people seem to want, is a product that looks like it's gonna do what it says on the box, not a bin full of scraps. You want something that is meant to do that rather than something that's bolted together from spare bits and pieces. And of course, the manufacturers know this. And as the market has matured and grown, people are putting much more effort into their machinery rather than a few bits that they cobbled together. That effort is being reflected in the general look and design of laser cutters, and there aren't that many players doing this, but they tend to be the bigger players, and they're bringing out some nice stuff. So Ortur have sent me their Laser Master 3 because it's their new launch flagship product running along those lines, and to be honest, it looks beautiful. And of course with every flagship product, what they're doing is shipping it out to a bunch of reviewers, and what you're getting is about 1 million videos on YouTube telling you how well it cuts and comparing it to other cutters, which is fantastic, but how many times do you want to watch that? Now, if you're going to buy something like this, and this is going to be in the $600 to $700 region, then you're not going to be looking at one video. You're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be looking to see what's going on and to see how this thing performs, and that's great, but you don't want the same thing time and time again. It just gets boring, tedious, and there's no new information there. And that's the problem with this, doing reviews. Reviews can get really tedious very, very quickly. So we're not going to do it in that style. I don't plan on taking the lid off, unboxing it delicately and showing you how to put it together, because Ortur, like everybody else, is thinking of the customer. And so Ortur's support for this thing's great. They have some great videos on how to put it together. Their book inside of here reads like a comic book, and really, everything is really simple to put together because it's got little arrows on it. They mark the left with an L, the right with the right, and it's easy to put together in about 15 or 20 minutes. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to open the box and we'll have a look at the machine. Before I open the box though, there is something kind of to notice on this box. There we go. It's right there. It's a patent number. They've actually gone to the trouble of patenting it. Now, I looked that number up, and what it's to do with is the air cooling system in the laser head. Now, it doesn't really matter what it's to do with. What it's telling you is that there is actual genuine research going on where the product is getting a patent on it because it's an improvement. So there's real work gone into this machine as opposed to painting it a pretty colour. They've actually done something real, and that makes you think that, hey, okay, if they're bothering to do all of that kind of stuff, then there must be something about this machine. And that's the immediate thought that I had when I read the fact that they'd actually worked on that to improve it and to make it better. So, very promising start. Haven't even opened the box. Let's get it open. Okay, so that's it out of the box and set up, and it has immediate curbside appeal. It's solid, it's square, it's got a very nice finish, and everything fits together really well. And of course that's great, but the thing you really want to know, or I want to know, is what sets it apart from everything else. Now, it's got some great little twiddly features that kind of scream this has been thought about, and of course that's important. If you're thinking about something, you're trying to do the best job, you're going to do a good machine. If you just don't really care and you want the profit, you're going to do something rubbish that you can sell. This has got some great little features. One of them I really like is this. It's a little leg that folds down. You drop that down onto your material and the thing's in focus, and it means there's no little bits to lose, which is tremendously helpful. It has some great little bits on the front here. Here it's got a key to lock it in and out, so you can turn it on, turn it off, take your key with you. It seems a kind of a little mean in a sense, because, you know, it's my ball, I'm off home and nobody else is playing. But if you want to lock it out, you've got yourself a key set to be able to lock it out. Of course, Wi-Fi, on-off button, and then this, which I think's really kind of cute. It's a big red button. And who doesn't like big red buttons? It's a stop button, emergency stop. So I guess if you're cutting something like a bit of plastic and the whole thing bursts into flames, you can at least make sure your laser's turned off while your house burns down. So it's got a great big stop button, and of course it has tilt stop, so if you tilt it, the laser stops and isn't going to blind you. Those are kind of cute features about it. One of the things here is this little switch at the back there flips backwards and forwards to a mark called YRR. It comes with the YRR cable, and of course that is for doing the rotary attachment for cups, mugs and wine glasses. If you do that, you're going to have to lift it off. It doesn't have feet extension, so you're talking about a couple of bricks in there. So there's some great things that set it apart. But one of the things that I thought was immediately fantastic was it comes with an app. Now, these machines, when people buy them, they fall into two camps. One is they've grown up with the market and they started off with these things. They know everything about the machine, what there is to know about this stuff, and the kind of stuff they're interested in knowing. And that's usually things like speed tests, cutting tests, all that sort of stuff. And that's great. And then the other side of the market is people who've never got this before and fancy giving it a go. Now, for those who understand everything there is to understand about this, then there's a ton of information for you, already done in reviews, already on the Ortur website, and you'll see that when you're doing your general look around if you're deciding to buy this. For those who have never used one of these machines before, then that learning curve on the software, things like Lightburn for instance, it's pretty steep. And if you're wanting to use this within sort of half an hour of getting it out, then having that app, which is basically just like any phone app, stab your little stubby fingers at it and get it to do something, then that's for you, because that decreases the ease of use and you can get this thing working incredibly quickly, doing some pretty nice things. So that app, which I've never seen before, I think is actually quite a huge advantage, because these machines come in two parts. There's the machine itself, which is want to be sturdy and square and cut nicely. And then there's the software, which is exactly how you're going to control the machine. A lot of times people think about the machine and don't think about the software. But not having decent software can turn what would have been a pleasure into an absolute pain as you struggle to find out how to actually move the head. So that app application, the ease of use of that, I think is actually quite fantastic. So I was talking earlier in the video about the new breed of machine that the Ortur Laser 3 represents, and it's not all in the machine, it's also in the approach to the product. So a cheaper machine, well, you're going to be hard pressed to find any actual support for it, if you like, official support. So a big part of these new machines is the amount of effort that's being put into making it dead easy for you to use, giving you ideas of things you can do, presenting tutorials of that sort of stuff. So it used to be, when you did a review of these machines, you would go into the ins and outs of how it performed and what glitches it had. But as the new breed is coming up, you'll find that the how to build it tutorials are covered far better by the company than you see by anybody else, because they want this product bought. They want you to enjoy that experience and recommend it, and these days they're putting that kind of effort in. Now, it's not something we normally expected, but these days that's what's happening. So you really should be jumping over to the Ortur YouTube channel to to look at their videos on how to put this stuff together and how to connect it, because they're some of the best, clearest, concise videos out there on how to actually do this. Now, there's a bit of a catch-up going on, in that people who are reviewing these machines are doing the same old stuff, and to be honest, it's dreadfully dull. But when you look at what the new breed of machines are doing, that stuff is being covered more than adequately than what a YouTube user can cover. So check out the resources, because the machine, remember, is only in part how the actual machine performs. A big part of it is what kind of support there is there, how easy it is to use, how well made it is. Now, we've got this particular machine, which is their standard version. They do an extended version where you can replace these bars by even longer bars, and you can get a material use the size that Glowforge brag about. So they have a lot of support, a lot of extensions, and a lot of bits and pieces, and a lot of really good videos out there that just aren't being viewed. We're all jumping over to YouTube to check what other people are saying, and in terms of independent verification of what they're saying, that's useful. In terms of the unboxing and how to put it together, that's a complete waste of time these days. No point in doing it. And you've got to think about it a bit more in those terms, I think, because the market is changing. Now, I did one video where a guy posted what was basically, oh, to hell with that, let's forget the drinks and dinner and go straight to your place. And that, to a degree, is the mentality we have about these things. We focus on the machine. The machine isn't so much the focus anymore. The focus has got to be much more on the support, the build quality, certainly the performance, yes, the independent verification, yes, but all of that other stuff that isn't off standard covered, that makes using this, from using it as a clunky beast and needing to know all that stuff, to using it as a tool that actually is a joy to use. And that kind of appreciation of what's going on with these machines is something that the manufacturers and producers are not missing out on. It's something that certainly they're catching up with, as much as they're catching up with the designs of the machines that they're now producing. And of course, Ortur are to a degree leading the field in that one, because this is a very nice machine. It's well made, it's light, it does a really good job if you believe the independent verification, and although we do want to do a bit of cutting with it, I thought that this time spent talking more in terms of its ease of use and the support and its structural details was far more important than performance figures, which is everybody is giving. Now, we'll do something creative with this without a doubt, and you know me, I'm a cutter. I tend to see these things more as replacement tools rather than engravers, and I want to get something cut out on it for sure. But so far my experience of it has been, yeah, really quite positive. Anyway, if you're thinking about a machine like this, do remember to watch a few videos on it to get a well-rounded view. This one is a bit of an alternative view. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to like and subscribe.